So I'm the co-founder of Rhize Bio. We are a new agriculture technology company that is commercializing analytical tools that measure soil biology performance and health. In a single teaspoon of healthy soil, there are more microbes than people in the world. Billions and billions and billions of microbes. What are they doing? Why are they there? What's their function and what role do they play in agriculture or in turf, on golf courses? That's what we're trying to figure out. So we have an issue, and this issue is driven by conventional management practices. We haven't had the tools and the resources to really be able to understand exactly what is happening in the soil. And we've been treating our soil as if, and focusing on the chemistry and the physics. What soil texture is it? What's the nitrogen and phosphorus levels in the soil? But we haven't been looking at the biology, which is life. Microbiology is life. The microbes in the soil, they metabolize all of the nutrients and the macronutrients, and they provide it to the plant. And as a result, we've seen a tremendous loss of soil. Our soil is dying. 40% of all land is degraded. 50% of nitrogen applied, which is the farmer's biggest expense, is lost when you have washouts and heavy rains. 24 billion tons of topsoil is lost. These are just a few metrics of the issue, and it's a global issue. I would say it's the most jarring and biggest issue faced by us as a civilization today. Our soil is dying. So what is the solution? Rhize Bio is developing analytical tools. It's an AI or a machine learning model that takes all of those billions of microbes and it runs it through a bioinformatics pipeline, and it provides a functional output. What are those microbes doing? We're looking at biodiversity, how many microbes are in the soil. We're looking at functional analysis. We're looking at risk assessment, how many pathogens are in the soil. And this is helping to drive the regenerative agriculture industry, right? It's a new wave there's a revolution that's occurring in the industry which is trying to regenerate and bring back to life the soil because it's so severely degraded. And you'll see things like no-till, which is minimal disturbance in the soil. You'll see things like cover cropping, biofertilizer, which is basically like a bug in a jug. What are they doing? Or a bug in a jug that are applied to the soil, and those little super microbes, they get to work and they start feeding the plants. These are new and innovative solutions that are coming into the industry, but there's no guidance, there's no regulation, it's like the Wild West. And so we need to have data. We need to have information to be able to guide the decisions that are being made on the farm. And the output is life. This is an example of our report. We're looking at observed species, community evenness, which is how competitive the microbes are. If there's a dominant microbe in the soil, that's an indicator of stress. We're looking at mycorrhizae, which is kind of like the probiotics of soil, and they just create massive networks of nutrient transfer. And we're looking at nitrification, denitrification, nitrogen fixation. These are all a part of their pathways in the soil that occur whenever nitrogen is provided to the plant. And so if one pathway is blocked, then the system's broken. So we have to figure out where there are hiccups in the process of providing nutrients to plants. Phosphorus cycling, polymer degradation, drought resistance, the list goes on. We found that these are the biggest indicators of health, which is supported by one of our advisors from Purdue. We also can look at disturbance levels, head blight in wheat, or how many pathogens are in your soil. And it's compared to our reference database, right? So of Midwest soils, how do you compare? How do you stack up? The future solution is development of biomarkers. Imagine a biomarker that told you exactly how much nitrogen your system can bear on your farm. Some farms, they don't even respond to nitrogen because there's no biological life that's providing nutrients to the soil. And our goal is to pick up on quick PCR, 24-hour turnaround tests that can indicate your system's ability to metabolize nutrients. Now's the time to invest. The government is spending billions and billions of dollars to solve this issue into climate-smart ag and new solutions. The biofertilizer industry is growing. I was just at a trade show and there were dozens and dozens of them. They're everywhere. Everyone's starting to come out with these innovative, like I said, bugs in a jug to fix these problems. The costs in synthetic fertilizer, you go with the geopolitical issues and our access to ammonium. So right now we're on version 1, which is basically a report like I showed you before. And this report, it's a bioinformatics pipeline, and we have a data storage. And we've been able to generate that port. The next step is a portal and then a platform. And like I was talking about before, biomarker discovery. Why us? It's my dad and I. It's a family company, small company. My dad has 25 years of commercial diagnostic experience. He is a brilliant scientist, and it's just been amazing to see him innovate. And my background is in business and marketing and sales. Got my degree at Messiah College in Pennsylvania. So this is our model. There's a number of ag labs in the industry, and we want to partner with them. We want to empower them with this technology. We want to connect with their agronomists, with their farmers, and provide them with access to this new technology. We have 2 competitors. They're both out of the Silicon Valley, and they're doing DNA sequencing in-house, and they're providing reports to farmers, and they also have a team of internal agronomists. We want to take this revolutionary technology and we want to bring it to these ag labs who are processing millions and millions of samples per day. So right now, we've been bootstrapped. We're looking to raise $2 million. This will help us with the development of our pipeline and launching it and collaborating. Our pre-money evaluation is $5 million, and that'll get us to Series A. Thank you so much.
Josh, thanks. Yeah. This is good. So who buys this?
So the farmer will be purchasing it.
A farmer will?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's going to be, a lot of times the agronomists will be purchasing it as well. So we are trying to position ourselves with agronomists and partner with agronomy networks. And we've had a lot of traction there. In the sense that we have a lot of interest. We're going through pilot studies with these agronomy networks. And our goal is to educate them, show them how to interpret our diagnostic tool, how to interpret our report, so that they can pull those samples in field. And a lot of times the agronomists are the ones that are making a lot of the management decisions on the farm. And they need more data, they need more information, and so that's where we feel we'll have the largest impact.
And so what specifically are they buying?
So they're buying a soil test.
They're buying a soil test?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So we're pulling a soil sample. Right now we're going through kind of trials or a research study to determine the best way to pull these samples. And we anticipate it's going to be very similar to the standard soil testing procedure. So
that's good. Like how much does it cost?
So each soil test is around $200. And, with a standard soil test, they do grid sampling every 8 acres. They'll pull a soil sample. Ours, you don't have to get that in depth. You can be much more strategic and say, okay, here's a high-performing area on the farm. Here's a low-performing area on the farm. Let's compare the two, and let's see, where the deficiencies are, how your soil compares to maybe another local farm. How did this input or management practice impact the soil microbiome? Maybe there's a certain pathway that's blocked, so in the lower performing area, so we're going to try and turn those pathways back on.
Okay. And like, how many tests would a farmer buy from you? Like 1 or 500 or how, like?
It depends on how many soil types they have, and it depends on how many crop types they're looking at. So the agronomist is going to know best, and so we suggest, as companies and farmers are getting into biologicals and introducing biocentric management practices on the farm, they have their own test fields, right? So yeah, it could be anywhere from a small 1, 2 high-low to 10 to 15 samples for a larger farm. But our other customer is, and I didn't get into this in the presentation, is inoculant manufacturers. They're doing field trials, right? And so we want to test 200 farms and see how our product responds in all these different soil types.
There's a thing in the world, which is, so you did great. I think you did good. There's a thing in the world called the curse of knowledge, right? And the curse of knowledge is the thing that happens to someone who's an expert on any subject, right? Where if you're an expert on a subject, the things that are interesting to you on a subject are really specific, like details that are deep into the thing, right? And so sometimes it's hard for experts to communicate with novices, right? Because I don't know about you, but when Josh was talking, I was like, this sounds good, but I don't know what it is. Did anyone else feel that way? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Okay. And so I think that if you're talking to novices, right, starting out by saying, we make a soil test and we sell it to farmers and it costs $200. Like, I think all of us would have been like, this is like, I would have been able to get on the train a little earlier than I did, right? Because like you said, imagine a biomarker. I can't. Like, I mean, I can't. Like, I really can't, you know? You should hear my dad. Yeah. Like, so you're probably talking to very sophisticated, biology-oriented agriculture investors. Yes. But if you're talking to like good old people at Queen's University on a Wednesday morning, like a little better on-ramp. Yeah. Right.
Well, I know Josh and his dad. I've met with him before. So I'm going to ask you a few odd questions for this group that's not typical. So what's changed, if anything, in your outlook on the business and your view of the market in the last 6 months since we spoke?
What's changed? I would say, when I first came to you, I had this One Health model where we're talking about, people and your gut microbiome and kind of connecting the dots between the soil and the gut. Since you provided that recommendation, we've gone out to Brookside, which is, they do about 1 million soil samples a year. We're going through our first pilot study with them, and we've presented to their 200 agronomists on staff. And so we're kind of beginning that process, getting further down the road with them. We've also, they're working with us on a large SIG grant, which is about, so yeah, we're partnering, and I just got back from a trade show, and we have several meetings with all of the, or not all, but a few of the big ag lab players. The other thing that we realize is that this is a research and discovery tool, and so the governments, they like this, and so a B2G model is really attractive right now, just getting as many grants and pursuing as many grant opportunities as we can that fall in line with what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah,
so
that's good. The reason why I asked Josh some different questions is because for those of you that are getting things started, I want you to remember one thing that doesn't often come out in these presentations, and that is in almost all cases, in just about every early stage seed or angel investor's model, what is weighted most heavily is the team. It's the people. And Josh and his father are highly qualified to be able to be successful in this business. And I asked him the question. I asked him because I kind of knew the answer, but I wanted to demonstrate that he and his father are doing what's most important, and that is they're learning as they go, and they're using their expertise to refine their model. I think what I've seen happen many times with entrepreneurs is they get onto a problem, they know they have the solution, and they are unwilling to change their look at the market, at the customer, at the business model, at what they're providing in order to be successful, because they're so stalwart in the fact that they've solved this problem in their head, and they're so passionate about it. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but what I think Josh and his father are demonstrating exceptionally well, and what I'll be keeping an eye on as they progress, is their ability to navigate what is a very complex, very technical, highly dominated by large commercial manufacturers kind of channel to market model, where when they started, I think they thought they were going to monetize the farmer, and I think we all realized pretty quickly they're not likely to be our best source of money. And what I want to applaud with Josh's presentation that I can see in the difference is that they're beginning to shift that. And that's not because I told them. Who gives a crap about that? It is the ability to listen to the world, to see the business around you, and to change and modify your idea and your approach to the market as you go. It is one of the most fundamental and most important things about having a good team, is your ability to manage change. And so I give you guys credit for that. It looks like there's good progress, so I look forward to continuing to follow you guys.
That's good. Yeah. All right, let's hear it for Josh. Thanks.